Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Amused Jester. Today, let's take a look at two Star Wars vintage collection figures. One is from the Bad Batch, the other one is from the Mandalorian, Moff Gideon in his Dark Trooper armor and Crosshair. Waiting definitely for both of these. As you can see, this is from Amazon and it got crumpled. That's okay. Here's the back for both of them. Let me go ahead and open them up and let's look at some toys. Man, am I glad I am not a mint and box collector, because this would really kill me. Yeah, I just don't know how mint and box collectors can stand it, like having to get the most perfect box and everything. Like this one almost looks perfect, but then like I know exactly what they're thinking. It's like, man, look at this, there's a crease over here, and that would have ruined the whole thing for them. Then even this lifting here, so like that's just pure torture, I think. And it just an added stress that I don't know if I really want in my life, like this is almost perfect, this is crap, and I'm like, who cares? But I did take care of removing them, because I will put them in my card backs. Not really a collection, but just a reminder, I suppose. So here they are, out of packaging. So as you can see, Moff Gideon in his armor comes with his staff, a small gun, and an effect. Crosshair comes with quite a bit. Has a backpack, a gun, the helmet, and the small weapon. So let's go ahead and zoom in and let's look at some of the details going on. Let's start with Moff Gideon. So he doesn't have an extra head that comes with him. He just has the armor. And as you can see, the horns in his armor, it's not too sharp, but that's fine. The details is amazing. When I first saw this armor, I knew I had to get it. I knew I had to get this TVC and in the black series as well. This holster over here, like a very simple paint application, but it's just, I don't know what it is. Like I didn't even particularly like the character. Like it seemed like he was too good of an Imperial, but I suppose he should be, right? Because he's a commander or some sort, like high ranking. And he's battle skilled as well. If he can take on a Mandalorian by himself. So, but this armor that he's on just like ramped him up for me. Here's the stick that he has that replaced his staff. His blaster is pretty small, but it's pretty good detail for something so small. Blast effects here, I think. Oh, there's a small hole in here that you can just plug it into. Yeah. Crosshairs is definitely one of the two that I wanted the most. Of course, Bad Batch, and because he does have a portrait, and I'm like, Look at that portrait for something so small. That's, look, that's my finger right there. Look at that. They even put a shadow, a 5 o'clock shadow on his cheeks and painted the lips. You can see the scar running down on his right eye. You can see the eyes. Like 3.75, guys. Like, how thin is this? How good is that? Here's my blade, my X-Acto blade. Like, that scar is like thinner than the blade itself. Wow. This is why when I saw that Riva figure like in September of last year, I'm like, amazing. Look at the paint detail on the shoulder guard. Look, it's a skull. Look at how detailed that is. If they actually applied this type of paint detail on their ships, this would be an amazing line. Here's his helmet. You know, with the new process of printing on the paint, we did sacrifice washes, because washes, when it was being done by hand, it's fairly easy. It's a lot, almost individual, because it's, you know, it's just been done by one person using a mask and spray painting it, you know. We lost that, yes, but we gained the ability to do these smaller scale. Wait, is there? Is there? It is actually sculpted in. Look, the line across his right eye. This is not a removable helmet, so it's one of those replaceable pegs. Here's his backpack. Oh, it is. There's the peg and there's a... Okay. Here's the gun. Standard trooper gun. And here's the rifle. So I thought in one of the reviews I saw this was... You can break it apart. It's right here. Right there. And then basically, this is what I said, whoa, there is, because you can peg this in here, the barrel. And then this one. Wait, how is this? Oh, there it is. Oh my god. That is amazing. Okay. Let's zoom out and let's look at the figures completely. So for articulation from Moff Gideon, it looks up pretty well. This is spiky enough that it actually is painful to hold on to. Has a little bit of down look. Not much of a room. This is, look, nice soft rubber, pliable, movable. And it's kind of interesting that this garter belt that they're using for the cape, which technically isn't even necessary since it's being held on by the backpack, actually adds a nice touch of detail here. Again, I have to commend the Hasbro team for switching it up and making this shoulder pad as a separate piece that's actually got a ring around the bicep, the shoulder area, so it's actually separate from the piece. I mean, like, I'm still amazed that they're willing to do that for such a small scale. And I know they do it for the Black Series, but for them to do it in the TVC line, that's amazing. More than 90. Rotation at the elbow. Rotation at the wrist. The wrist is an up and down hinge. Right? Unhampered by the gauntlet. Same thing on the other side. There's a cut here on the abdomen. Oh, very nice range. Sideways. And then nothing on the front. How is that possible? It's gotta be something in the back here that's causing that. Why is there nothing on the front but so much on the side and the back? I mean, they could easily just make a little bit of cut there and expand it. So I don't know why the design team is choosing not to do that for all of the TVC. There's nothing on the waist. Nice kick on the hip to leg articulation. This is the new version of the body thigh twist, thigh cut. That's disappearing in some of the Black Series. I hope they don't take that out of the TVC. I really hope not. Single joint on the knee, which is just fine. Does the 90. Look, he can do a landing like that. And this one popped off. Oops. It's like Moff Gideon coming to land. Oh yeah, I started playing with it. Ankle goes down like that, goes up like that. Sufficient enough with an ankle rocker. Beautiful. Now, before we end with Moff Gideon, which I'm very satisfied with. Oh, by the way, let's do the evaluation now for Moff Gideon. Value of 12, easily. Very satisfied with it, even though it doesn't have the head. If it had had a head and the price was at $16.99, then it would have been slightly higher, because the head portraits, they always get to me. They always do. Now, I don't have my other Moff Gideon right now, so I can't swap out the heads. But there are some videos out there, and it doesn't seem to fit properly. Like something about the peg that's sitting a little bit higher, which is kind of a shame. They could have just as easily designed it so that it fits. So this might be their way of forcing us to get another version of this one. But I don't know if it's ever gonna be possible, because it's not going to be as popular as it was when season 3 was coming out. So value of 12, base price of 10, equaling to $17. And $17 for me is a high price for a TVC. I don't want to buy a lot of TVC figures for $17. I prefer them going to the secondary market, where it's sometimes can be cheaper. But for core characters, the remaining characters, yes, I do buy them. And for $17, I'll still give him a 12. You know what? No, I'll bring him down to 11. I'm definitely happy with what I got, as I was expecting it. I'll bump it up to 1 because I'm really, really happy with the developments they're doing with the TVC, meaning the shoulder pads, the retaining the thigh cut for TVC line. That's just mind-blowing for me. So I'll give them an 11 instead of the value of 12, because the price is $17. So anyway, before we end with Moff Gideon, I wanted to bring out the Epic Hero series Moff Gideon, which was my stand-in for now while I was waiting for the TVC line. And you know that, and here's the thing, right? And this is the reason why I went ahead and decided to use it as a stand-in. It's $7. And look, comparatively, it's not that bad. It's not that much more taller. It's not that much more wider. The detail, yes, is less, but when you're looking at 3.75 figures along the line of hundreds of figures, for me, it's okay. And the weird thing is, I got into this line because of the articulation here, because of the detail and everything, but it populates my Star Wars line. And even though initially I just wanted this type, I soon began to learn that this type of a figure is so limited in number that it just does not do justice to do a Star Wars collection and just limit yourself to this kind of a figure. Now, I do remember I used to have a system in how I categorize these things. So this would be a tier 1 figure, which would be full articulation, barbell joints in the hips, and ankle rockers at the ankle movement. That's a tier 1 figure. The character, this I would account as a character level 1 category, because he is Moff Gideon, and even though he's like the main villain, so I definitely had to have him, and even though it's $16 or $17. Now, if it was anything less, for example, if it was a tier 2 figure, I definitely would not pay $16.99. I want full articulation when I'm buying this. That's already off on my table. That's all secondary market for me. Now, if it was a tier 1 figure, category 1 character, category 2 character, I might, depending on who it is. But I wouldn't be able to tell you what characters that would be. Like maybe a commander trooper that's well known, like one of the Rexes or Cody's. But so for something like that, maybe not necessarily. But these Epic Hero series, they're like $7, so I'm okay with getting those. Not necessarily every one of them, but mostly like troopers that I can build up the ranks. But this one I just had to get because it was like, I'll try it because I really wanted this armor. Anyway, so let's move on to Moff Gideon. So let's move on to Crosshair. Now, Crosshair, this guy is definitely a tier 1 figure, category 1 figure. Yes, I definitely wanted this one. This is a must get. Let's look at the articulation before we go on. Not much going up on the head. Wow, the head up and down is really minimal. Even that one. So it's just, yeah. This one, the shoulder, as you can see, this one right here, it goes off to the side. Interesting. They're still doing the same on the shoulder. So it rotates separately on its own. Doesn't hinder. Look at that. And of course, more than 90 on the elbow with a rotation. The wrist rotation, and the movement is side to side, left and right. On the other side, it's up and down. Good. You got the cut, but it's very low on the ribs over here. Not much side to side, not much going back. More back. It's mostly a twist. I would just basically categorize this as a twist on the waist. He has his I forgot what it's called. And barbell joints at the hips. Yep, going almost 90. Outside, not a problem. And he has a thigh cut. Makes it twist. Perfect. Knees, single joint, but more than 90. The ankle can still go down, even though it was almost limited by the sculpt. Goes up pretty well with an ankle rocker. So yeah, this is definitely a tier 1 figure. The head, helmet, now there's been debates on what's better. Is it better if it was an actual helmet that plugs in, or is it better to pop it out? I think, honestly, at this point, I think popping it in is much better. It keeps the scale down, because otherwise this would have been either too small and this one would have been too big or something like that. Either way, it doesn't need to be an actual helmet, right? Because you can still, by the way, listen, you can still have the illusion of putting the head in, and then he can hold on to his helmet. I really wish I could have afforded 2 of these, one helmeted, one unhelmeted, because that's the only thing, is that if this was a full helmet, then I wouldn't have to worry about losing this head, because this head is too good. So I think I'm just going to have them displayed like this, which is how I have Hunter displayed. And then obviously you plug in the back. Yeah, for now this is how I'm going to have them displayed. Yes, why am I looking for full articulation for full articulation if all I'm doing is just standing him like that? But I'm like, the option to be able to move him any way I want is basically what I'm after. And then of course this one goes up and down as well. That's amazing for something so small. So $17, but it's expensive, but this is actually quite a lot of stuff for $17. I mean, I would have expected that they would have charged us $24 for this one, the way things are going on right now. But it's only $17, and that is high. It's a tier 1 figure, category 1 character for me, and it's $17. For that, I will give him, I'm really happy with this one. I think the portrait is good. So unlike Moff Gideon, whom I only gave 11 value, this will start off at 12 value, because the portrait is really good. I think I'll give him another point because of the breakup of the sniper, so that's 13. And then I'll give him a final point for the price, because it's only $17 for what's coming with it. So the total value of 14, base price at 10, equaling to $17, a definitely must get figure. Definitely worth it with everything that's coming on with it. So that's it for my review of Moff Gideon and Crosshair from the vintage collection line of Star Wars 3.75. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys again on my next review. Bye.